Hi everyone, welcome to Friday's webinar. Todd's going to be showing you the Reach 2.0 experience, which is exciting. Before we get started though, let's make sure everybody can hear us. I do have a slide up for audio, so hopefully if you can't hear us, you've got some guidance there in terms of how to choose an audio option. You need computer or phone. If you can hear us and see this slide, do us a favor and maybe type where you're joining from in the questions pane of your GoToWebinar panel. We're in Colorado here. We actually got our first flakes of snow coming down this morning, which made me really excited. Also good for Colorado. We need it right now. Our fires are raging. So hope the weather is good where you are. Let's see. Oh, nice. Got lots of folks in here. Andy, San Francisco, Michael, Indianapolis, Portland, New York, Boston, NYC, Connecticut. SoCal, baby. Welcome, Bill. New Hampshire, Dallas. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here. Okay, it looks like most folks can see and hear, which is great. You are going to be muted throughout this session, but if you have any questions as we're going through this, you can type in this same questions panel that you did here. We've got some folks on the line to help answer any questions on the back end. Big old Brandwise team for you. But with that, I think we're good. Todd, I will pass you the presenter role.
Perfect. I will do my best to share something.
They're nice to be able
Okay.
to.
All right. Thanks very much, Iris. Iris will come back a little bit later and give you a voice to listen to other than mine, which I'm sure will please many of you. All right. So I'm assuming you can see my screen. So the Brandwise Insiders will pimp this at the beginning and the end, just to be sure that you guys are part of that, both the Insiders for text messages and then, of course, on the Insiders Facebook page, just so you can get the latest information and provide feedback on stuff as we go along. So we like that page. Going through what we're going to talk about today on the agenda. We're going to start with transit. We're going to talk a little bit about that, show you some of the new stuff that's in that, and describe for everybody on the call the necessity for product data to come through that. So that's a 2.0 piece that populates the 2.0 reach sites. So we're going to go through that. I'm going to go through all the latest updates and take you through everything Reach 2.0, which is actually pretty exciting. We're going to talk about and show you a bit of our first live Reach 2.0 site, which is where Iris is going to jump in and talk about how that implementation went and some of the different comments from that particular client. And then we've got 11 sites staged right now that are getting built, that are getting product up and getting ready to launch. And we're gonna go through one of those live today so that you can see how that looks. Latest features in Reach 2.0, we're gonna review, and then some order flow, so you understand how the 2.0 orders flow into your 1.0 systems, so into your legacy, so that the reps see them and everything works the same way it does today. And then a bit on the product roadmap. So we're gonna kind of go through those things. I felt that before we jumped into it, it would be important, since we're in the era of COVID, to make sure that everybody has their safety precautions ready for today's call. So I just saw this on Facebook and thought that I had to put it in the presentation because it's an awesome picture. So obviously this is your appropriate way to wear your mask. I thought that was pretty cute. All right, let's jump in beyond that guy. Okay. So why is transit the key to Reach 2.0? So as everybody knows by now, or everybody should know, we've got the passport, that's all been out there, transit, so on and so forth. But the 2.0 websites are built on the new platform, and in order for the data to get into them, it gets uploaded through transit. So product gets uploaded through that, as I mentioned, in order to get on Reach. It's very simple. We have updated the transit page. We got a lot of feedback, mostly from the agencies, that the suppliers weren't necessarily understanding that they needed to upload the full file and how the status of product worked. So we changed this around. We put that at the very top, that transit requires a full product upload. We gave guidance and instructions and a download template button. and then recommended field glossary, they can click here. So we tried to arrange that, and that's in production now, has been since last week. So that hopefully gives the suppliers a little bit more information right out of the gates about the fact that we need a full file and we need the status. What that status means is they give you a full file, but they tell you this product's discontinued, this one's inactive, and these are active. So that's how that works. And that came from feedback from you guys. So data uploaded by the supplier is immediately available on Reach 2.0. So for those of you that are starting to get onboarded, those 11 sites, as soon as you see that email that comes to your agency saying supplier A has uploaded their products, you can immediately go to Reach 2.0 and those products will be on there. If they've already uploaded image content prior to that, the images will show up immediately as well. So it's a very quick process that gets everything loaded there. Once it's loaded, it's there. So again, if you've got product details and you've got everything and you've got images, instantaneously on your website. So you'll see here, the only thing that's out of the ordinary there is getting a lifestyle image to us. And that's something that we'll show you as well and what that looks like. So if you think about your current Reach sites, you all have on your gallery views or on your catalog views, their product logos. As we're going into the world of 2.0, we want it to be more lifestyle image. So when a retailer looks at the image of your brand or the supplier, they know, oh, okay, they sell umbrellas or they sell this or they sell that, which may not be always apparent in just the name or the logo. Intuitive mapping, and we've gone through this before, but no specific file format. So when the supplier uploads their file into Transit, they map the data, so they don't have to put in a specific format or a specific order. So it's very simple, price and quantity, minimum required fields. These are the required fields, the first two that you saw and these four. So 6 required, but a whole bunch of recommended, which includes availability date, UPC, quantity on hand, unit of measure, all of those things, which are the optional fields, your product description too, the longer descriptions, all that type of stuff are in the recommended fields. Once a supplier maps them one time, it saves that mapping. So tomorrow, if they come in and upload the same file, they don't have to go through the mapping, just click, 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 and they're done. Once they finish, it will tell them that how many products were uploaded. If they upload the exact same file tomorrow that they uploaded today, it will tell them on this row that 5764 were previously imported, and it won't send anything out to the agency because nothing's updated. If one price or one product updated, it'll tell them one updated, and that product file will come to you with all of those products in there, but it will only update one file, one product out of that file. They click on complete upload, and it will send that email out. They can do this from anything. They can do it from a mobile phone. They can do it from an iPad. So if they've got something they need to do in a hurry and they happen to have their product file and all they have is their phone, they can run through everything on their telephone. Then you guys get an email. If you've already done this, you've seen this. Tells you that new product's available. It's good for 7 days. And whatever your latest email is the last file they uploaded. So if it's been a couple days and you see that there's 2 or 3 emails, get the most recent email. That'll be the one with the most recent product file. You just click download. It'll download that perfectly formatted file, and you import it into your 100 system. Now that import into your 100 system is for your Play system and for your laptop systems. Play for iPad and your laptops and your 100. As soon as they click the button to complete the upload, which is this screen here, as soon as they click complete upload, the vendor, that product data is available on 2.0. It's not dependent on you uploading it into your agency system. That's for all of your reps and your back office and all that type of stuff. So important, as soon as they hit complete, it's ready on Reach 2.0. So that's how that part works. And then we're also offering supplier onboarding webinars. So Callie and Iris actually have been driving the process for that, and it's been very effective. So in many cases, the biggest obstacle that we have is that suppliers are thinking that it's difficult or complicated to upload the products through Transit because now they primarily email them out. So what we've been doing is working with the agencies as we're onboarding with Portico and with Just Gotta Have It and with Collective Home and with everybody else to get groups of their suppliers on a webinar and run through the process. After that, if anybody has questions, then we're setting up some quick one-on-ones with those brands so that we can get them through the process, show them how to do it. And the response to that's been, okay, this is really easy. Now they can upload that every day. So as an agency, instead of getting product files, 3 or 4 times a year, you can get them every day with quantity on hand, availability information, updated pricing, active status, all of that type of stuff. So it becomes much simpler that way. So if you need information on that, you can email info@brandwise.com, which goes to a bunch of us, and then Callie and or Iris can reach out and get those things configured and set up with you guys. All right. Okay, so the Brandwise product data flow, a few months back when I did a webinar, I went through this again, but I just want to kind of show that one upload that comes through transit and that one upload that comes through content management. And by the way, we did a webinar way back, and the suppliers know this now. If you're a supplier in your passport, you have transit, you have stream, and you have content management in one login. So it's very seamless and easy now. You don't have to go to all these different places. But once product data is uploaded, and right now it's about 15 million SKUs, about 10 million images that come through content management. All of that goes through transit, or that's the product data goes through transit. Your images go through content management, and it populates the agency play through that import through your 100 server. So that's going to get the agencies, the reps, the retailers access to that through the play systems. It also, at the same time, if you're a supplier that has your own systems, then, and you're not doing the automated import, that'll give you a file that you can import into your 100 as well. It'll also populate all the agency reach sites immediately, as I've mentioned, and any of the suppliers that have their own reach sites. So the idea here is that that data is uploaded once and it's available everywhere. Those images are uploaded once and they're available everywhere. So that's how that piece works. So quite simple. And we're adding more and more things into that, which I'm not going to touch on too much. We'll get to a little bit at the end with categories and different things like that that are going to be coming very quickly on the data that comes through transit. Okay, so let's talk about reach, which is why we're here. So it's beautiful on any device. So for those of you that are on our current reach site and you're on a PC, it's a pretty good experience. It's not the best ever experience because it's a bit outdated, but it works really well. And we're actually getting a tremendous amount of orders through our existing websites. But when we built the new site, based on a lot of the feedback, we wanted it to be beautiful, we wanted it to be image forward, we wanted it to be responsive to where if a retailer needed to go on their iPhone and do it, or their Android phone or do it, or their iPad or their big screen, or you're sitting in a conference room someday in the future and you have a big television, it goes across all of those devices seamlessly and looks great across all of them. So we want to have a special call out to Collective Home. Collective Home was the agency that we work with that took the first dive into 2.0. They were the first site that came up live on it. They've been live now for about 30 days. They're trying to get the retailers hooked into it and all that kind of stuff. They've been working hand in hand with Iris to get all of the product data up there and all the images up there and all that stuff so that it's a good experience. They've had some great feedback for us, but this is, holy cow, hold on. Got a little crazy with my mouse. But this is how their site looks. So that's the iPad view, PC view, and mobile view. So on mobile, you're scrolling up and down. iPad and PC, you have the full visibility. I did on the PC, I left the brands on the left side. If you click that arrow that's right here, it'll move that out so that you get the image view that you have on the iPad. You can do that on both of those type of devices. But that's what the landing screens look like. So again, lifestyle image, tell me about the product, that kind of stuff above the brand. But I wanted to bring Iris in at this point so she can kind of give you an idea of the excitement that was around that and the way that Collective Homes was promoting it and the way that they were talking to their suppliers and their retailers about it. So jump in, Iris, please.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, this was a really exciting time, especially for Brandwise, because it's been a long time coming. When we first did this implementation, we had, shout out to Dylan Womack here on the call, Lisa Rickard. We had late nights with that team. They were just working their butts off to get this all beautiful and ready to go for Collective Home, and Collective Home was so appreciative of that. So a lot of work went into it. We have a great team. I was just so impressed at how quickly we were able to get this going for Collective Home. I had a great time shopping on their site. I mean, before they even saw it, I was like buying baby clothes, pretend, right? And I don't even have baby or know many babies. So it was just so beautiful. It was easy to shop, very intuitive. And so I couldn't wait to show it to them. And what was also nice is, to Todd's point, their vendors, those who were already uploading through transit and had been managing images, as soon as that site was live, everything just boom, like that was populated. The products were there, the images were there. It was gorgeous, and it was really exciting for them to see that. the reps were dazzled. I remember showing it to them for the first time, and you could hear this in the background, which was really exciting too, because they're the ones that are going to be reviewing all of those orders, right? They're still the experts. It's just a really nice way for their retailer to have another way to write an order, and then for them to still be their expert reviewing those. So they were really excited. Again, very image driven, beautiful, big images, very easy to use. We've made it super straightforward. So all around, there was a lot of excitement, especially also with the suppliers, knowing, those that had a bunch of agencies connected to them. Like, oh my gosh, now we don't have to manually send out a file, to 20 different agencies. We just upload it once and there it is, it's ready to go. So kudos to suppliers, those of you on here who are doing that now. You get to be a part of it right away if it gets turned on, which is super exciting. So, and then, the customer testimonial, once it was launched, they had a very, very excited customer. She went on and she just searched for the word orchid across all lines, and she found essentially exactly the right products that she wanted, added them to her cart, confirmed it, submitted it from there. So that was kind of one of their first experiences with a retailer on the site. Retailer couldn't have been happier. So we're really excited about it. We've got more that are rolling out here soon, and every time Todd shows me the site with Bill, I do a little happy dance. So you guys are excited too. I think this is a huge step, especially right now with the way we're not able to work with folks face to face. So congrats to Collective Home and for the rest of you as well, moving towards that.
Cool. Great. Thanks, Iris. One of the other things that I want to mention, and I want somebody to remind me when I get through and we get into the live site, is one of the things that was a limitation for suppliers and even agencies in the past and in the existing applications is, okay, I uploaded my product data and I upload my images. What does it look like? Well, on the reach sites now, if you're a supplier, any of the suppliers on the Collective Home website, for instance, so if the Ivy Guild wanted to see what their products look like, they can actually go to Collective Home's website and it will put them in read-only mode, view-only mode, for just their products, and they can go see exactly how their products look on Collective Home or any other of the sites that they have. So it limits them down to just their product, just their brand, and they can see everything the way the retailer does. They can't add it to the cart because they're just previewing it. Same with the agency. So as an agency, if you want to go look at your website, in the past, you've created yourself a test retailer. You don't have to do that now. With your passport credentials associated with the agency, if Collective Home goes to the site, it comes up with a yellow bar at the top that says you're in view only mode, and it will let you see everything. So on my team, if somebody will remind me at the end, I'll make sure that I kind of show you what that looks like. But that's a great feature for the brands, the suppliers, to be able to see what their product looks like once they've uploaded it. Also good for the agencies to say, hey, supplier A, please go to my website, and you'll see that while you have product data, you don't have any images, and it doesn't look very good. So it gives everybody a really good feel for how stuff's looking, which is a great feature with the new system. All right, let's dig in a little bit more. So Reach 2.0, again, the new look landing page. I'm gonna move this so that I can see my screen a little bit better. With the supplier lifestyle image, again, looks great on any device, but again, we want to be able to tell the brand story, so that's the idea of the lifestyle image. So again, you can see you've got with or without the sidebar. And then again, this is on all the platforms, right? So your PC or laptop, iPad, mobile phone. So again, across all these devices, you're getting a really great look and feel. And you can quickly search across all suppliers. So this is a big thing that you can't do in the existing site. You can go in and you can do some quick finds things. But one of the deals here, if I go from the main page and I simply type in a colorway with black or blue or whatever, it's just going to go through the different products and search for that specific word, and it will do some fuzzy logic searching as well. So if you spell it wrong, like if you spell it BLCK, it'll go through and still bring up product that's very close to that. So it's using some fuzzy logic searching. But you can see here that we've got 3 different brands that come up immediately with that word in it, so that as a retailer now, if I'm looking for a colorway, or Iris's point about just looking for one particular type of product, or I'm looking for socks, or I'm looking for shoes, I can type that in before I pick a brand, and it's going to give me those products across all brands. So as a retailer, I can just start adding, and it'll start building those orders up in my cart. So it's very, very easy. Or you can click on a specific brand. So in this case, Beekman, and I've got all my products that are going to be listed as they would in the order that they were put in. And then I can also go in there and I can search specifically within that brand. So if I was to search for fresh air in there, once I'm in that brand, it's going to limit my search criteria to just Beekman, as opposed to where I was doing it before and it had everything. Finished multiple suppliers within your cart easily. So again, I've gone through and I've clicked on all of that. And as you can see here, it starts to build my cart out with all the different lines. It's going to easily tell me if I've met my order minimum. So you can see that at this point, I've got a $100 order minimum, $128 is above that. Down here, I've got 150 and I'm at 123. So the 123 is red. And we're going to make some modifications to this screen. By the way, we're going to put minimum up here, so it's obvious to the retailer that that's what this is. And we're going to also add some words instead of just colors to tell you that your 123, whatever that is, right? So I'd have to do the math to say, okay, I'm $17 for minimum. We're going to put that type of text to just make it easier for the retailer so they don't have to do math. But right now, it's very easy to identify your order minimum. You can continue shopping straight away. So I didn't meet my minimum. I look in there and see what my items are. I can either increase my, in this case, I did meet the minimum, but I can increase my quantity, or I can click continue shopping, and it will take me right back to that brand's gallery, and I can continue to add items for that one, then go back into my cart. Easy to empty an entire cart. So instead of having to go through and delete them all, which not that we want anybody to empty it, but if they want to empty it, they click on the empty cart here at the bottom. It will give them a confirmation screen, and they can remove that cart. And the question that you're all asking yourself right now is, okay, are we going to be able to see that they abandoned a cart in our marketing? We're going to talk a smidge about that at the end, but the answer to that's going to be, yeah, you're going to see all of that. They added these to the cart, they had a cart, they dismissed it. All of that stuff's going to come through as we get into the marketing side. And then easily finish an order once it's ready. So once you fill in the information here on the right side panel, which is probably a little hard to see, but you have your payment terms that need to be defined, your payment methods. If it's a credit card, you'll go in and get the credit card entered with the tokenization. On credit cards, because this has been a question as well, we're going to be adding the credit card feature to the passport for the retailer. So the idea there is the retailer will go into their passport, they'll add their Visa, their MasterCard, whatever, it'll tokenize it in their passport and make it available for them on their Reach site and ultimately in Play. So they won't have to enter it for every order, and they'll have it, depending on which supplier it is. And ultimately in Play, you won't have to get it from them anymore. You'll just be able to pull it down from their passport. Right now, they'll go in like they do now, and they'll enter it in, it will tokenize it. If they don't have everything filled out, they haven't met the minimum, they don't have a payment method, whatever, the system will tell them that and will not let them create the order until they fill that in. Once they fill it in, they'll get this modal pop-up that will give them an order confirmation, billing address, shipping address. If they have multiple shipping addresses, here's where they can choose which one they want, or they can go in and edit the shipping addresses from there, or they can go add a new one from there and then use it on that order. So all of that can be done from this confirmation screen. Then they hit submit order, and it immediately goes into their order history and sends the order on to the sales rep as an HFC, or directly to the home office, depending on how you're configured, or directly to the supplier or the brand, depending on the level of configuration and who's hosting the site. A few more things. So drill in and zoom in the product detail card. So all of you guys that are staging your sites now, or for Collective Home, the product detail is not there yet, but it's this close. So this is in our dev environment. So that means when I click on the image, it takes me into a larger image. So again, you can see a nice, big, huge image. All the information about the product, the mins, the mults, the MSRP. This drop down right here is my quantity price breaks. And then the next version after this will have quantity on hand and that information also in the detail screen. The other thing that we have, which is cool, is zoom rollover. So you can take your mouse, as you can see here, and you can zoom into the detail. So we're just getting this going. Right now, as you guys all know, or most of you know, we ask you for a 500 by 500 image, and we use that in Play, and we use that as the default image here in Reach. We're going to give you the opportunity pretty soon to give us a 1000 by 1000 or a higher resolution image. So we'll still have this 500 by 500 image as the default for everything, but that means when you zoom in, we can zoom in a image twice the size of this image. So you can really get down to some great detail. So we're going to open that up to allow a high res image in. Still be very responsive and very quick, but that's how that will work. So this is all in the dev environment. It will work through by, I think this will release next week with the detail if everything goes well, but right now it's looking really good. Detailed interactive order history. So right now the order history is part of this. Last time we did the presentation, we just had the basic history where you could see the line items, you could see the order headers. So as you can see here, I've got my different brands, I've got my order date, ship date, PO number, all that information, and then I've got a view button now. So that view button, well, before we get into the view button, I'm gonna go back one. So you can see where I've got brand and I was gonna point at my screen, but you wouldn't be able to see brand, order date, so on and so forth. And then you have this drag a column header up. So this is your retailer's view of their history. So they can drag any of these fields up here and it will give them a grouping with a total for those. So high level reporting. So if I go to the next one, I pulled brand up here. So now I see that for each of my brands, it'll show me the total orders I have in my date range and the total dollar amount. So it quickly gives them a summary of, okay, here's all the orders I wrote for each of these brands on Reach and on your your 200s and your 100s. All of their orders show up here, not just the orders they wrote in Reach. So they can get a quick summary of what's going on. They can also go in and click that view button and they'll get the detail. So the detail is going to show them all the information about the product, as well as their sales rep's phone number, and their sales rep's email address, and the current status of this particular order. The next stage of this will be allowing them then to reorder items off of their history. That's coming down the pike, not in the next week, but in the next couple iterations. So those are the types of things that are available. This is all available now in the order history.
Todd?
And yes.
Can you make it a little bit bigger? I don't know if there's a way to zoom in a little bit, but they've asked if there's a way for you to make it any bigger.
Hide your webcam, Todd.
What's that?
Hide your webcam. That'll make the screen bigger.
Yeah. You can do that. And then I'll go back up. Is that bigger now?
It's a bigger version of you. The screen sharing instead of your webcam.
Oh, well, there you go. So now you can all see me. Let me get rid of that. All right, webcam. Okay, how's that?
That's bigger.
Okay, so let me go back. Let me start this one over just so you guys can see. Okay, I'll start with this. So again, the zoom, product details, the zoom in, so you can see how that looks. Okay, and then hopefully you can read this now. So again, you can see the order history here. If I pull the brand up, I get my subtotals, my counts, all that type of stuff. So as a retailer, I can see this information. Then if I click the view button here, I get the product detail associated with that particular order. So again, I'll be able to at some point here in the near future, I'll be able to reorder off of this, but now I can see everything that I ordered and all my reps' contact information. And again, this will have everything for orders written on Reach or on the road or at a market. The other thing that we've done recently is we've updated the retailer business editor. So for many of you, you knew that retailers would call in to say, you know what, the name that's in there is incorrect, or it's spelled wrong, or the address is wrong. Because remember, we migrated a bunch of retailers into 2.0. Now they have the opportunity to click on edit here, and it will take them into their business profile. They can update their name, they can update the address information, they can do all of their phone numbers, website information, their core industry. If you had them as gift, but they're actually home or there's some other industry, they can make those modifications on their own now. So that was something that came in the last few weeks for the retailer editor, where they can do that they can update that information. So that's in there now. And then we're in the midst right now of finalizing the business editor for the suppliers and the brands. So what that means is that this information that we have in what we call our Brandwise admin tool. So for those of you that were setting up on Reach now, you may see that the name of the company that shows up isn't the common name for that particular supplier or brand, because we're pulling it from our admin tool that could have been entered in 10 years ago and they've changed things throughout. Now what we're going to do is allow them to put the name in, and that's going to be the name that shows up on the sites, because obviously they're the brand name. So you'll also see their contact information, their core industry, and then this information on the right, this will show them the lifestyle image that's currently on the site. And then we're just adding in the brand information, or the romance copy, so they can the supplier will put the information in about their brand, and I'll show you where that shows up in a second. There Okay, so they can go in and edit their business profile. Actually, I'm in the retailer, sorry, I keep clicking the wrong way. So the supplier, same thing, they can get in, enter their business profile, change their business name if they need to. All the information about them, their phone number, their core industry. Again, right now, if they want to update their lifestyle image, they'll email support with that image and we'll update it. But very soon in transit, which is where we're doing it, the suppliers and the brands will just have an upload lifestyle image within their transit portal, and they can just upload their image from there. Actually, I say that again, they'll actually be able to upload their image right here. So right now, they'll just click that to email the image to us, but pretty soon that'll be an update image for them. And then here's where their about the brand is. So right now they have 350 characters, and it will tell them if they've exceeded that they can put in there. And we'll see how that 350 characters plays out. If it's not enough, we'll ultimately add some more, but I'll show you where that shows up. They'll be able to put that in there, save all of that, and then this is where the about the brand will show. So when you go into that gallery view, there's an about the brand button that the retailer can hit, and it'll bring that down in mobile and on the PC. And this is where the supplier will have their information. We'll ultimately have the min order reorder that we'll pull from the data. Right now they could key it into that. And other things that we'll be able to do in here, links out to video about where they can talk about themselves. We could potentially even embed some small video. So there's a whole lot of things that we can do within the screen. But again, we want the brands to be able to tell, here's my little story, and then that story gets put out on the site for you. So that's where that would show up, is in this about the brand. All right, so to find out what's coming next, and actually I probably should get to that in a second. Well, I'm gonna go into that and then I'm gonna break out into some of the live stuff. But I had a big long list of things that are coming next. But we have, as part of our Evolved conference next week, one of the sessions that we have is about what's coming next for Reach 2.0. So instead of giving all of the cards away here, we want to lure you into joining us next week for that webinar. We're going to go through all the up and coming stuff in the Reach 2.0, where we're at with, where are catalogs coming in and where are categories coming in and all this kind of stuff, as well as a bunch of other stuff, including how the marketing is coming along, which we made some huge progress with that this week. And we should be able to show you some of the high level stuff next week in that call. So you're going to want to tune in for that. We're going to give you the roadmap that'll take us through the first of next year, order flow from sites, how it's going to go on the different things, some of the different stuff that's going on with that. So join us on that. But that's the bulk of the PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to jump out of this now. You guys can join your insiders real quick while we're doing that. But let me get out of here. And I'm going to go into a couple things on the live site. And I want to have a special call out to Portico, who let me use their site for this today. I think it looks just great. Just Gotta Have It site looks just great. The Zwilling site, all these different sites that are coming up look just awesome. But I wanted to pick one that we could use to show you some live stuff, so I chose this one. But I also want to show you over here in our dev site how the Zoom is working currently in kind of a live versus a Memorex type of thing. So as you get the products in here, when I click on one of these, and if you're on, if Portico went to look, or anybody that's on Reach now that's getting set up went in there, you won't be able to click on one of these images because we don't have the detail in production yet, but we will shortly. So when I click on this, it's going to take me into the larger detail image. And the other thing it's going to do is give me this link up here. And I was joking with my developers about, okay, they didn't do it, that they probably released something right before this and would break. But what you see up here, this gallery above the rest product number, this is also that direct link that you guys will be able to take to put in your social media or in your email marketing and any of that will take your retailer right to this product on your Reach page. Something we have in 1.0 that we've now got built into 2.0. But you can see how nice and huge the image is, the information that you can put over here. So this can be much larger as far as your description, UPC, so on and so forth. And then when I hover over the picture, this is where I can drill in. And this is where I was saying this image on the right side of the screen, if we do the 1000 by 1000, will pretty much take up that side of the screen. So your retailers will be able to get some really great detail into Spider-Man's eye or whatever you want. But as we get the higher resolution for product, they really want to look at texture or something like that. They'll be able to do that very nicely. But anyway, this is in there now, so this will come as part of that. It works on mobile as well, so a pretty cool feature from that. So I just wanted to show you how this looks in our dev environment. So in the production environment, kind of going through some of what we had. When a retailer first gets to the site, it looks like this. so they can easily click through brands. We're going to have some different ways to get through when you have a ton of brands on the left side. I don't want to give away too much. We'll talk about that Wednesday. That's also coming up in either this coming iteration or the next, as far as how we're going to give you some different ways to get through that. But I can do a number of things from here. I can remove the brand so I get more images if I just want to look at that. I can also go to 3 images versus 4 images. Again, just depending on how the retailer wants to see stuff. And you can do this in the gallery view as well. I'm going to go back to 4 though. If I click in here and I type blue, for instance, so I'm looking for anything blue because my store is blue. I sell only things that are blue. So if I do blue, or I do socks, or I do hats, or I do anything like that, it's going to go through every brand and it's going to bring up blue product. So I've got Lucky Feather, Margot Elena, Creative Brands, Swig, all of these different blue companies. I can go through and I can add product for all of these. And it's going to create orders for them all, right? Now it's also telling me here on these particular products, they're out of stock. So I can't add them to the order. So again, we're enforcing quantity on hand, and there's plenty of business rules around how that works that we can speak about. But that's what that looks like, is it's telling the retailer that there's no stock. So this particular search is across everything. If I go into a specific line, and this is what this one doesn't have images uploaded yet. They've got a few, but this is how it looks without, and this will populate with a no image. But let's get into one that has Bellatuno. I know has some good images. So when I get in here, you can see that the images come up, and again, I can do images 3 up or 4 up, so I can see the images there, and then I'll be able to click on these. That will give me the detail. But in here, if I want to do some searching within the brand, so I want to see awesome, I can just type that in. It's going to search through there and give me that. I can search by SKU, any part of the name, description, any of that, and it will bring that item up, and I can add them to the cart. So very simple to do that from here. So again, that's how you can manipulate through different suppliers, from either going into the supplier or doing all of them. And you can click on either the name on the left side. So if I want to get into if I want to get into hot socks, I can click on it here, or I can go back to shop and I can click on the image from here and get into the same thing. So if I want to get to hot socks, I can just click on their lifestyle image. It will take me in as well. So that's how the retailer gets around. Again, all of this works beautifully on the big screen, or if you size it down, how it looks in mobile. So now you can see that I can scroll through all of my products on mobile. It looks great on mobile as well. And then I can expand here to get back to my shop and go through different suppliers. Again, I can go through image-wise and get into one, or I can go through on the supplier side. So that's how that stuff works. I'm going to go back to the big screen so you can all see it. That is some beautiful stuff there. All right, so that's on the ordering piece of it. Categories, catalogs, those things are coming shortly, but those will be part of what we go into next week about timing on that. Here's the brand profile that we spoke of. So if a retailer clicks that down, this is where that romance copy will be that I showed you in that slide. So this will be Alaniki art telling about themselves, what the about the brand and all that kind of stuff to get the retailer excited. But we kind of keep it out of the way, so the first thing they're looking at, the retailer, is this product. So on my top bar, if I go over here to cart, we're going to see now that all of the items that I put in are going to show up in my carts. So I've either exceeded my limits on this broken top candle company. I'm below my minimum. But on the rest, well, and Bellatuno, I've still got some stuff to go. But I can go through any of these, and I'll see the product that I purchased. So I can go down and let's click one. Let's see, Violet Books has a few more. So these are the products I have on there. I've met my minimum, as we can see. I can change quantities in here, no problem. It will increase my order size and all that type of stuff. Then down the right, go back up here, I've got my shipping address. I can change the shipping address when we get one step further. I've got my ship date, which I can change here easily if I want to extend that out. I can put a cancel date in if I want to from here. So if it hasn't shipped by that date, I want to cancel. Then my ship vias, you guys will have typically on your web stuff, you'll have a default, but if not, the retailer can select it. And then payment method. So you can see if I have credit card, it's going to force me to put a credit card in. If I have a net term that you allow them to choose, and remember, you can dictate what the web terms are, then I can put that in. my PO number is going to be auto-generated unless I put something in. So if I don't put something in, it'll be a 4,000 dash whatever. Otherwise, I can just put in Todd, and that's what my PO number will be. And then I can put my order notes. When I hit create order, it takes me into my confirmation screen. So here's my order confirmation. You can see my PO number's Todd. My payment term didn't update, so I need to see what's going on with that. And then my shipping address. So this is our Brandwise account. We have a ton of shipping addresses, but you may have customers that have the same thing. So I can go in here and I can pick an address, I can edit an address, and from within the edit address, I can add a new one. But once I pick one, then it's going to go to submit order. And once I submit the order is going to go through to Portico. It's going to go to Portico. It's going to say, oh, based on the address and zip code here, I know that the rep is X. It's going to go, this order is going to go as an HFC, depending on how Portico set it up, to that sales rep. So that sales rep can then look at the order, make sure it looks okay, work with the retailer to help get it to, maybe this product doesn't sell well in this area, or this one's oversaturated, all the things that the reps do. I'm actually going to go ahead and cancel this. At this point, I'll also show you the empty cart routine. I can go in here and say yes, and it will empty my cart. So I can empty all of these so I don't accidentally submit orders through to Portico, but that's how they can go in, close their orders out, or empty their cart. And if we look at this on mobile, and I'm in my cart, move my screen over here for you. Same thing. If I go too far, it expands it out. Okay, so they can go through, expand it. It'll keep this information at the top. So I fill this out first, and then it will show my products down here. But I still do all of my business work up here, and then it will release me to create the order once I've met my order minimum and the rest of that type of stuff. So it works very nice in both formats. And then order history, I'm going to take you into my demo site because I don't have any order history for Portico, and go into the order history so I can show you how that works. So again, the order history now is for the retailer. It's for both reach orders and play orders. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go back 7 days. And maybe I don't have any orders in here either. So I'll get to a different site here if I don't find anything here. Nope. All right. I'm going to go into my collective home because I did some orders here that I put through. So let's look at these guys. Just give you a nice view of them. Okay, so there's my collective home site. So this is what we saw when we looked at their site. So if I go into order history here as my Brandwise dealer, and we'll go back, let's say 30 days. Can't remember when I did these orders. Go back 90 days. There we go. So these are the items, the orders that I had put in. So these were all test orders. You can see the test order do not ship are the ones that I put in with my own PO. And then these are the other PO numbers that were entered. So if I drag the brand up here, it'll sort this out for me as a retailer and show me for each of these lines how many orders I've done and what my total order is. So it's pretty cool the way you can do that. I can bring up any of these that way. So I can bring up order date. Also as a retailer, even though I've got from July to October, I can still filter this out by any of these. So if I only wanted to see, let's say an order where my order total is greater than $200, I can do this filter and it will just filter me down to orders greater than $200. And then I could filter on specific ship dates or any of that. So it gives the retailer a fantastic way to go in and find information. They can also search by PO number, and they can also include the shipping address on these orders. So if they've got multiple shipping addresses, they can put that in here. And I'm going to clear my filter because I think I have 2 shipping addresses. I don't, I just have 1. But if they had multiple shipping addresses, they'll see that for each of their orders very easily there as well. Then I can go in and I can view the details of these orders. So if I click on view, it's going to take me into that particular order and show me the detail that we talked about before. So the rep information, if it's available, the line items that are associated with it. So in this case, I don't have a sales rep assigned to our Brandwise account. My test order, and I've got the 1 line item that comes up, and the order status is canceled because we canceled this because it wasn't real. So that's how the order detail looks within the order history. So that gets us through shopping, the cart, the order history, everything that's currently available. So as I mentioned, on sites like Portico and the other 10 sites that we're staging on top of them, when I say staging, what that means is they have a 2.0 site and a 1.0 site. So you can keep your current site going, and that's your shop now from your marketing page, your existing pages, all that type of stuff. But we can put this other site up, and you can start getting all your lines on, getting all your lifestyle images, making sure all of your products are loaded. And then when you're comfortable with it, then you can transfer this over to the Shop Now button on your marketing site. One of the last things I want to show you, and then we'll open this up for questions, is that we also have the ability to create a marketing site for you. So right now, you're either hosted in GoDaddy, or you're hosted in Shopify, or you're hosted in any number of places where your portico.com site or collectivehome.com or any of you guys.com site is, and you do marketing on that site. Then you click Shop Now, and now you're in Brandwise. So one of the things that we have available in the world of 2.0 or in the new Reach is that once you get this going, you may decide, you know what, it would really be great if I could do my marketing within Kentico. So I can see people that come to my marketing site, and then people that convert over by clicking on the Shop Now, they're brand new and they go to Shop Now and they create a passport, or they clicked on my marketing material and they ended up in Alley-oop on this particular product. It would be ideal if I could do both of those from one place. So we have the capability to provide you with your marketing site within our Kentico content management platform. So now your marketing and reach is in the same platform. So now you have one source for your marketing. So we have the tools within that to provide you guys with the ability to build your site out to look just like it does now, or tweak it or do whatever you want. Then the Shop Now button that you have will take you into Reach 2.0, but your marketing will be seamless. We'll speak more about that next week, but just wanted to kind of give you that concept. You don't have to do that out of the gates, and you don't have to do that at all. You can just switch the Shop Now and it will take you into the new Reach. But if you want to get all your marketing into one place where you don't have to go and say, okay, I use HubSpot marketing, let's say, to do the marketing on my marketing site, but then once I click Shop Now, I have to go into Brandwise and Kentico to do all the marketing about what happened on my website, on my shop site, which is fine. But if you want to see it seamlessly, we can host that for you. So that's something that we can talk about on next week, or we can answer some questions here, but I just wanted to mention that. All right, I'm done talking.
Not quite, Todd. There's a few questions so far that have come through. For one, can you also show off the browse only feature for supplier?
Yeah. Yep.
And then also, can you talk a little bit about how you do suggested orders from Play onto Reach 2.0 now? I know the process is a little bit different.
Say that again.
The suggested orders from Play and populating them into Reach 2.0. I know the process looks a little different, but some of that functionality is still very similar.
I apologize. One more time, because I'm looking at something I'm not listening. Answer that question again. I promise to pay attention.
The functionality between how Reach 2.0 works with Play. It's a little different than how it currently works with the existing Reach, but if you can kind of share a little bit about that. And
I need to see where I can. So basically what happens with that is in order history. So in 1.0, when you go into order history and your rep sees an order that was created from their Play system for a retailer, or it comes from the Reach site and is available in Play. So the one way where a retailer goes onto your Reach 2.0 and creates an order, your rep will still be able to interact with them with the HFC order. The piece that we haven't built in yet is the ability for a rep to make a pending or HFC order on their Play device and have it available for the retailer to modify in Reach 2.0. So when I mentioned that ability to go into your order history, into the details, and reorder from that, when we get that technology in, they'll also be able to modify their HFC or pending orders and send it back to the rep like we do in 1.0. So that will give them the full back and forth virtual experience. So right now, they'll see all the orders, they'll see the 200s, they'll see the 1000s, they'll see the 4000s, so they can go through and look at what was ordered on all that. And when they place an order directly from Reach, the rep can still interact with it, but the other way around is coming soon. So that's the one thing that, and a number of reps use that, a number of reps don't really take full advantage of that even in the existing. But that gives you a complete sort of virtual way to work with your retailers where you can pass that information back and forth. And then when the rep says, yep, this product looks good, it's not oversaturated for what you bought, it'll sell in your area, they can confirm and it goes through the brand. And I'm just on another screen now. I'm going to get that get it set up so I can show you what the browse only looks like, and then I'll pull it back to the screen that you guys are looking at. Any other questions while I'm trying to multitask here?
Can you explain a little bit more about categories and collections and how that'll work on Reach 2.0?
Yep, give me 1 second. Sorry, give me 1 second. I just want. All right, so before we do that, let me go into browse mode. So one of the other sites that we're bringing up shortly is the Museum Store Association site. So what I've done here is you can see that I'm logged in as the Museum Store Association. So I'm logged in as the agency, and I'm now in browse only mode, and I'm unable to add to a cart. I can only see what's in here. Since I'm the agency, I can see all of the brands. And when I get into brand with products, the shop now button's gone because I'm browsing as an agency. For a supplier, and I don't know if I actually have any suppliers that I can show this. Let me take a peek. Let's see. Trying to see what I've got on the supplier. And I don't know that I have one, but I'm going to try. Nope, I don't have one. Just 1 second. Go. Switch this over real quick. Nope, I don't have one in there for that. Yeah, I don't have one to show the supplier, but it works exactly the same. So if you were a supplier, it would show you the same thing, say browse only, but it would limit it down to just your brand. So again, the agency saw everything because it's my agency. And as a brand, if I did the same thing, I'll get back to that page. Let's see, I'll do this again. Back in there. Pull that back over. So if it was a specific brand, let's say it was Applewood Books, it would limit this just to Applewood, and it would bring me right into Applewood, and it would say you're in browse mode, but then Apple would be able to see how all their products look and how all their images look from within there. Categories, we don't have the collections piece on the real short term, and categories will go into much more detail and show you what that looks like next week, but I'll give you a teaser on that. So in stage 1 of this, we're adding the categories into transit as we speak. So the supplier, the brand, will be able to upload their categories with their transit file. And underneath a brand, so if I was to tap on 1,000 museums, if they had categories, this would pop over and I'd see my top level categories. And then I can drill into those to get into subcategories. So the categories out of the gates will be by brand. So 1,000 museums will have their categories. Applewood Books will have their categories. The next piece that we're going to add in is the ability for the agency to group their brands. So I've got all these brands. You may say that I've got toy companies. You'll be able to group your brands into toy companies or apparel companies or candle companies. But then when you click on that, it'll take me into those brands, and under those brands, they'll have their categories. The other thing that we're going to be building in right above the search bar is breadcrumbs to make it really easy for the retailer to get back into subcategories or back to the home where they can browse everything. Both of those are coming, we've got screenshots we'll be able to show you of those next week, but that's some of the stuff to jump on and see how that's going to look. But those are both coming very, very soon. The first one of those will be the categories for the supplier. The agency piece will be coming after that, where the agency can go and group their suppliers or their brands under the way they want to categorize them. So those are both, one's coming sooner than later. Categories is coming, breadcrumbs is coming sooner than later. And then the ability for the agency to group them will come after that.
When you're talking about that grouping feature, Todd, would a brand be able to be featured in several different groups?
Yes. So categories and groups are one to many. So you may have a brand that when they set their categories up and they have products and categories, the brand can set up product to be in multiple categories. And we've come up with some stuff. We ran this by a number of companies when we were coming up with the way to build categories, but it's kind of a simple spreadsheet method that you go in and you can assign this product to category 1, 2, and 3. And by the same token, for an agency, you'll be able to say this line is in this particular grouping and they're also in this grouping. So their primary would be toy, but maybe you have one that's puzzles, because puzzles is a hot thing, or new product offerings or things like that. So yeah, in both cases, they can be one to many.
Can you speak a little bit more too about the functionality for product suggestions or top sellers when a customer orders certain products?
Yeah, I'll put my picture back up just so you can see that I'm actually talking and paying attention to you. So when you think about in the search bar, the way that we're doing stuff, and again, we're giving a little bit away about next week's webinar, but it'll be a good one to attend. Right now, we're tracking all the activities. So we're tracking when a retailer creates their passport, or we're tracking when a supplier uploads their product through transit. We're then tracking a retailer that clicks on a brand, clicks on the product detail, adds things to carts, all of that type of stuff. Based on that information, for you guys, when you get into the marketing aspects, you'll be able to start putting persona-based marketing together. And what that persona-based marketing does is say, okay, retailer A is always clicking on books and publishing. They don't ever go to puzzles. They're not really going to different stuff. So they're really clicking on the publishing side of things or the book side of things. So you can set algorithms up in the marketing for persona-based information that would say, okay, these are the types of products that they buy, and these are the keywords that they're typically looking for. And what will start happening is we'll be able to start presenting products when this retailer gets into a brand or onto the site. Instead of just having this here, we'll actually be able to organize it based on what they're looking at most. So when that retailer hits the site, they may have a suggested product. Those suggested products will be based on their historical. So that type of AI will start to get built into there through the algorithms. And these are things that you guys will be able to control. What do you want to look at? What type of algorithms are you interested in? And that will help these products rise to the top. It may also come in and say, these are the top brands that you've purchased from, or these are the brands that you like most. So it makes it easier for the retailer as we start to gather all of this information up. But we're already gathering it all. We're starting to get all of that stuff going. So as your site gets more and more traction for each of those retailers, all of that information will become automatically available. So instead of where you would have to go in and say, these are my top products for these type of people, or this is what I want them to see, it'll start to bring that stuff up automatically based on their historical trends. And that's all the stuff that, that's a big part of the Kentico platform and why we bought it. And I know it's a big part of our customers' interest in that is how can I use that marketing or how can I build those workflows? But that's what's going to start to happen automatically as you start to get more and more traction on the site.
Thank you. We've had quite a few questions come in so far too, in terms of just what the existing reach sites can do now. So whether you're an agency or a supplier with an existing reach site, yep. About how they can get onto Reach 2.0, if this is going to be an automatic process, or what kind of actions they can take now. So can you speak a little bit to that as well?
Yep. So we have the stipulation to go live with 2.0, let's say, would be that if you were going to go like Collective Home did today, or some of the other guys are going to do tomorrow, you would go with the understanding that digital catalogs aren't there in this part of it. They will be coming. Categories are coming, but you're okay with what you see. But prior to that, if you want to get set up like we've done with Portico, where we've got all of their stuff here, this site, while it's live, is not live for the retailers to go and click on. It's live if Portico says to a retailer, hey, go test this out. Anything I place an order here for is live, and it will go through all the way to the 1.0 side and to the rep and ultimately to the brand. But to get set up, if you said I'm on 1.0 or you're not on Reach at all and you want to get going on 2.0, reach out to sales at or info@brandwise.com in your email and say, hey, I want more information about this. The first piece is determining your URL. You'll notice here that the shop porticocollection.bwwweb.net. These URLs are stored in our Kentico CMS, and that's the pattern that we're looking for. Your retailers aren't going to go to that. Your retailers are going to go to portico.com or porticocollection.com or collectivehomereps.com or whatever that is, and click on a Shop Now button to get to the Reach site. But that will be the basic URL. So our first question to get you up and running is you're going to have an admin, a shop, and a marketing site, even if you don't use the marketing site, based on this URL. So it's going to be agency at bwwweb.net and shop agency at or shop supplier at bwwweb.net. And then if you have agency.com or supplier.com, that'll reroute them to this, even if it's your marketing site. So to get going, we can do these simultaneously. So Portico's Reach 1.0 site's out there generating revenue, cranking away while this is getting stood up. So they'll be able to tell us, you know what, let's swap them out. At that point, we simply swap the shop now URL that's on their current marketing sites, point to this site. And then we just turn off the old site and they're ready to go. So the migration is very, very easy. All the data is already there. What's really interesting is when we flip the switch to get you going in 2.0 and then turn you over this website, a lot of this information is already there. So if there's another agency in the country that's already has products and lifestyle images loaded for you, or that particular supplier is already using Reach 2.0, all that stuff just pops up instantly. So it's kind of a fun surprise to go to your site for the first time and see, well, geez, I've already got 8 out of 10 or 30 out of 50 lifestyle images. And, I've got 75% of my products and images already there. So I've got it immediately, these are the suppliers I need to go after to get their products in, uploaded through transit. And these are the guys I need to go after to get my lifestyle images. But it's a very, very simple transformation to get the site stood up and start looking at what it's going to be. And then the crossover on that.
Awesome. One question, I guess, still about the top selling items by vendor and an agency. Is this based on quantity sales or the sales dollars?
So it depends on how you want to do that. So when you start setting up persona-based marketing, and actually next week, Callie will be able to speak to this a little bit better than I am. But what ends up happening is you have different workflows that have different rules associated with a particular workflow. So for instance, you could say, over time, I want to be able to start to calculate when a retailer logs in, or just on the site in general, what products are being purchased the most by either quantity or dollars. So you could essentially have either or, depending on how you want to see it or how you think you want it to be seen. I would think that you want bestsellers to be based on the number of products purchased, not the dollar amount. So that seems more logical to say, you know what, the top purchased product that we have is this one. Now, that's great. You may end up with your rep saying, okay, well, that's our top product, and therefore a whole bunch of people around you have bought that product. But those are the types of things that could be set up in there. So what we'll end up doing is we'll define a lot of these basic workflows in Kentico, and then we'll give you different attributes that you can plug into these different workflows, time ranges, or specific attributes that you want to have associated to that. And as Callie gets herself more, we're going to start using this for our own Brandwise.com marketing. So as Callie gets more entrenched in that, how the workflows are built, how the dashboards work, all of that stuff, then we'll start doing more and more webinars with you guys on how you're going to be able to get in there and use that. Because we're going to basically do it ourselves. So that's what we're starting with. And we'll go over more of this next week on the call as far as how the specifics of that work.
Awesome, thank you. One thing too that I wanted to emphasize about those calls as well, when we do schedule these one-on-one planning sessions with you, we do have all the information on our side. We are keeping track of all those reports to be able to say which of your suppliers are already participating in this, and just come up with these goals of how many suppliers we want to get onto this webinar to make sure that we can get them all up and functioning. The average time, and you can speak to this a little bit more, Todd, since you've been so involved with this process as well. But the average time that we've seen is if you give us a date in mind for when you want to launch your Reach 2.0 site, it takes a few weeks just to get everybody on board and familiar with how everything works. But we can really kind of make anything happen for you guys at this point. So scheduling that one-on-one session is a good place to start for sure.
Yep. And then the key for the agencies or suppliers that want to go live with it is we'll send you something confirming the URLs. You'll send us that back. We kick that over to IT on our side. Usually takes about 2 days to get that turned on, and then your site's ready. And at that point, we can start going through and seeing which suppliers have their images and which ones have products and which ones have lifestyle images and all that type of stuff, and which ones are connected. So the brands that you see here on the left side are the ones that have connected to Portico in their passport. So you'll also see maybe you have 40 lines and you only have 20 that show up on your website when we launch it. That means you have 20 of those suppliers that haven't even connected yet to your passport. So those will be the ones we start with first. Get connected to the passport, upload that, and we have all kinds of literature and information that we've been sending out, videos that take them through how to do that along with our webinars.
Awesome. I think we're just 5 minutes over the hour and everything. So if you have any closing notes or anything like that, that you want to bring up. But we've had a lot of really good engagement today. So thank you guys for tuning in and staying on with us.
Cool. We're excited, obviously. I mean, we're finally to this point where we're really starting to see some nice traction and some great features. I love being able to show you how Zoom looks on product detail and start to talk to you about some of the more advanced features now that we have the basics out. But we're getting good feedback from everybody. We're getting good feedback from the lady behind me on making sure that it's aesthetically pleasing and that we give you guys control as soon as we can over colors and fonts, and all that's coming. But right now we want to make sure that the site is easy to use, it's responsive, it looks great, the images are beautiful, your retailers can zoom in, they can do all that, they can place orders seamlessly, and then we'll continue to add these other features on. But we're pretty excited. I know our development staff that's been working on this forever is really excited to see this start to come into reality and start to be used by people. And again, our kudos to everybody that's on. Again, the preliminary piece of this, Collective Home for being the first live, and for Portico for letting us show off their brand and how it looks on the site today. But we're excited. I hope that you guys are as well.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out to us at brandwiseinfo@brandwise.com. And then if you have any additional feedback, I know that we've gotten a lot from you guys already, but you can also email feedback@brandwise.com for any of those enhancements that you might want to see coming through faster.
Cool.
So thanks again for joining us today, and have a great weekend.
Yeah, we hope to see you guys all next week on our virtual Evolved conference. So hopefully you guys have signed up for that. All right.